Hello everybody, welcome to the EnGenius Fit solution presentation. I'm Louise Barrett from Solwise. If you've got any questions for me, by all means ask them at the end in the Q&A or in the chat session. And also you can also email me directly, louise@solwise.co.uk. But I'm going to hand over to Ray and Alcindo, who are going to do the presentation. So Ray is going to present the solution to you, and then Alcindo will do a demonstration. So over to you, Ray.
Okay, thank you, Louise. So thanks everyone for attending. My name is Ray. I'm the Business Development Manager for the UK. And so welcome to the webinar today. And I'd like to give you a bit of introduction about the EnGenius company profile and also introduction about the Fit product solution. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so actually EnGenius is a subsidiary of Senout Networks. So yeah, we've been in the networking industry for the past 30+ years. For the moment, we have 6 global branch offices, and in the pictures you see that the plants here located in Taiwan. The headquarters is based in Taiwan. So we do the full manufacturing here. So we do the full R&D development and production, manufacturing, everything here in Taiwan. So the revenue for last year is about $520 million US. Everything gets developed and manufactured here in Taiwan. We have 400+ in-house engineers. So that means we develop and produce everything from the ground up. So that means hardware, firmware, software, so everything. So we don't outsource any part of the development and the production to any third parties. Okay, so that's a presence we have globally. So we started first in the US, so United States, Canada. We have an office in Dubai, in Singapore, and also in Netherlands. So we are shipping our products from our Netherlands office, and so this is where we ship and deliver the products to Solwise as well. Okay, so we do hold our own manufacturing facilities. So we have 12 SMT lines. We have 15 final assembly lines, and actually with the third plant just got commenced end of last year. So the monthly production is about 2 million units per month. Okay, so like I mentioned, we develop and manufacture everything from the ground up. So we do have the technical capability, hardware, firmware, and software wise. Okay, so in case we encounter any kind of technical issues, we can resolve any kind of issues from all these aspects. Okay, so today I'd like to give you a very brief introduction about the Fit product solution. So maybe some of you have used the EnGenius InSky solution already. So the Fit solution is kind of like the evolution of the InSky solution. Okay, so it's not, it can be managed through a controller on premises. It can also be managed through a cloud platform. So with the same hardware, it can be managed by both platforms, either cloud or on-premises controller. Okay, so here are 3 simple ways that you can manage and monitor your device. So on the left-hand side, you have Soho. So that's basically you can configure and monitor your device through the local GUI. So that's only when you have something like maybe less than 5 devices, and then you can configure them individually. Okay. Otherwise, you can either go through the Fit Express. That's the cloud solution. Okay, so the maximum devices can be managed is 30, and otherwise you can plug in one of the physical Fit controllers into your network switches and manage up to 100 devices. And of course, we have the software called Virtual FitCon that you can set up a Linux-based server and use the Virtual FitCon to manage up to 2,000 devices. So if 100 devices is not enough for your deployment, you can always scale up to the virtual virtual FitCon. Okay, so with the same fit hardware, so maybe some of you are already very familiar with our model names. So the previous model names are EWS 357 AP. Now it's switched to EWS 357-Fit. Okay, so the look is gonna be exactly the same, dimension, form factor, everything. And the old previous EWS 377-AP is switched to EWS 377-Fit. Okay, so we have here the indoor, outdoor wireless access points, L2 plus PoE network switches, and managed by two different kind of platforms, either by cloud, FitExpress, or FitController. Okay, so on the left-hand side, you have the cloud platform, the FitExpress. It can divide up to 8 networks. So it's more for SMB with a zero IT, and if you have like a global or a remote presence, then it's very easily you can manage and configure, monitor, troubleshoot from a remote site. Okay, on the right-hand side, you have a physical controller to be plugged into one of the network switches, and you can divide up to 50 networks, and it offers more enterprise level features. And we are targeting value-added resellers, system integrators, MSPs, who needs their data autonomy. Okay, so that's a lineup: switch, outdoor AP, indoor AP. Okay, so here is a very quick overview of the available model names. Okay, we have the EWS 357-Fit. So all these are Wi-Fi with Wi-Fi 6 technology. So we are launching Wi-Fi 7. So that's coming around in Q3 this year. Okay, so here you have a very brief specs for the throughput, for the decibel, and the specs for the antenna. Okay, and here you'll be able to see the lineup for network switches ranging from 8 ports to 48 ports. At the bottom, you can see a different PoE bucket. So with the same SKU, okay, then you can get either with a 240 watt power consumption or 410. So it depends on really how many additional PoE devices you are looking at connecting. Okay, so if you are trying to connect all 24 ports that need PoE, then it's better to go with a 410 watt power consumption. Otherwise, you can just use a 240. So the same concept applied to the 48 port. Okay, FitController. Okay, so here we are targeting, like I mentioned, the VAR, SI, and MSPs. So company who needs to manage and provide the managed services to your clients. So you need more enterprise level features, and you do not wish to go cloud, then you can use this on-premises deployment for network management. Okay, so that's the hardware you're looking at here. Okay, so we are using the Qualcomm chipset, and we offer 2 Ethernet ports, both with PoE. Dimension-wise, it's quite small, so it's about 120 by 20 millimeter, and then you do have a micro SD slot to slot in a micro SD card for backup. Okay, so here you can divide and design your subnet networks. Okay, so so there are up to 8 networks. Then you can try to set different companies, different locations, and within that specific location, then you can design and configure different departments. So for example, R&D, finance, sales team, marketing, etc. And you can assign the users with different privileges. Okay, so on the top level, so you have the top level admin, and then you can assign a user to a viewer or the admin for that specific subnet. Okay, so here this is a dashboard of the topology to give you an overview of what are connected within that network. Okay, and yeah, so within that FitController platform, okay, so on the left side you have the information of the access points. You can compare each access point side by side. You just have to click and to unfold or fold that particular access point. Okay, so there you can see the real-time throughput, channel utilization, and all the information that you need from that specific AP. And then you unfold it, you can click to the next one, and you compare to side by side. Okay, on the right-hand side, you have the network switch. Okay, so different colors means the different speed for the Ethernet, ranging from the 100 megabit per second to the 10 gig. Okay, so with the lightning icon, it means PoE. So that means the network switch is supplying power to the PoE device. Okay, so we do offer some interesting features. Fast roaming, so clients can roam quickly from one AP to another. Band steering, so if a specific band becomes too crowded, so the firmware automatically direct the client to a more vacant band. Okay, so then you're for better connection, right? For better signal. And all the L2 clients, they are isolated, so they are not able to communicate with one another. Okay, so here we have the client limit. So if that band becomes too crowded, the clients are not able to log into that specific band anymore. For traffic shaping, I think that feature is not ready yet, but with each firmware update, we'll make the features more complete. For the block and VIP list, so you can block or VIP a specific client or a SSID. Okay, so that's a dashboard of the figures from that subnet. Okay, so for a consolidated upload and download figure of the applications being used within that subnet. Okay, so that's about FitController. Okay, that's the platform. The good features that you can use. After my presentation, Alcindo will be doing the demonstration of the real platform. Okay, so now let's take a look at FitExpress, the cloud platform. Okay, so you can either download the app from the mobile phone. So after this webinar, if you're interested, you can log into your Apple Store or Google Store to have EnGenius Fit app downloaded to your phone, and then start from there. You can either do that, or you can see it from a web interface. Okay, so it's actually quite simple. So you can scan that barcode printed at the back of the device and get yourself registered. Okay, to register the device to the network and start configuring, monitoring, and troubleshooting. And everything will be managed through one cloud platform. Okay, so since it's cloud, right? So it doesn't matter where you are located in North America, in the UK, in Germany, in Asia, in Japan. So yeah, so it's a cloud platform. None of this will make any difference. Okay, so very easy to onboard your device. So first you have to power your device, and then you try to connect through your router or the gateway to have the Ethernet connection, and then you can easily onboard your device. Okay, so for FitExpress, they are made templates already. So the target is plug and play. Okay, so the templates are already made. For example, here you can easily divide the staff network to the guest network. So the two next networks will not be able to communicate and see each other. So you can easily set it to open Wi-Fi or password according to the WPA2 or WPA3 standards, or you can have it authenticated from the radio server or a captive portal. Okay, you can do exactly the same thing with the Wi-Fi guest network. Okay, so here are some examples. If you're trying to set captive portals, so you can you can create your own format, put your own logo so before the clients to log into the Wi-Fi, they have to go through the captive portal to enter some information. Okay, so since everything's monitored on the cloud, so you can easily get alerts if something goes wrong on the web interface or through your your mobile app. Okay, and you have the overview to check what's going on with the network switch, if all the ports are connected properly, and you can also set the PoE scheduling settings. Like for example, if you are running a cafe, then the opening hours is from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. for example, then you can set the PoE scheduling to have the PoE switch to supply power within that period. Okay, and then you can easily see suspicious wireless clients or wireless SSIDs, and then block it or kick it out. Okay, so these features are quite similar to the FitController. Here you can assign the users to be admin or viewer, and to which subnet. Okay, so these are so the diagnostic tools are the advantages from EnGenius. Okay, so here are some examples. You can see the report from the real-time device meter, port activity, and connectivity test. And you can also do the diagnostic on the cables to each port, and the clients on the switch. Okay, so I think there are a lot of the good reports that you'll be able to see through the app or the web interface. And for the real live cloud demo, I'll hand over to Alcindo. So that's it for the overview of the Fit product line. Okay, thanks very much. So I'll hand over to you, Alcindo. Thank you.
Okay, I will take over the screen. I have not seen any questions yet. If somebody has questions, don't hesitate to put them in the question thingy. Okay, where is it? So welcome again. I will start with the FitController. So it's you just access it through the web browser on its IP address, local IP address at port 8080. That's important. If you just try to connect to port 80, it will not do anything. So port 8080 it is. The first time you need to sign up, create a account. Obviously, I already did that, and I have my configuration ready, and actually I already populated it with some devices. So here you see that I have one switch and I have a total of 3 APs. Well, I'll show the APs first. So these are the APs that I have on it. For people who already have invested in some EWS 357 APs, so our slightly older AX or Wi-Fi 6 models, there is some firmware that you can use to cross-grade it from NSky, or the old management system, to Fit. However, that firmware is one way only. So you need to know beforehand that you're really going to use this, because as soon as you use the firmware, you can only manage it with the Fit controller. You can no longer configure it with our old on-premises Easy Master or Sky Key, and also you cannot manage those devices with our Fit Express solution, only with the Fit controller. So this is that part. That's why you're seeing a old style device here, because this one has been upgraded with a special firmware. And also I have two other devices. One is online, the other one is not online, and it's not online because I sort of moved that to our Fit Express cloud solution. So you will notice that one will be online in the other environment and no longer here. So these are the devices. I can see the details of the devices. At the moment, I don't have anything active. There are SSIDs configured, but I disabled them. It's already noisy enough on the Wi-Fi in my home office, so no need for me to create more. So these are the things. If you make any changes, then these will be passed on to the device. You can get some logs, and if there are any clients, you are able to see the clients in the device. That said, of course, if you have access points, you will probably want to configure some SSIDs on it. And by default, there's an EnGenius Wi-Fi already configured. That one is open by default. So the first thing you always need to do is change that. At least I assume that you will want to change that and put in a preset key. And after that, you can add multiple SSIDs if you want to. Notice that if you need to, you can even configure a VLAN to an SSID to segregate your guest network from your company network, for instance. Additionally, it has some features like bandwidth limitations. You can put in the captive portal in the device, enable it, and make it click through a splash screen that you can modify if you wish to. It has a local editor, or you can use an external splash page if you really want to. Additionally, for SSID, you can schedule when it is active or not. So you can make it available every day or every weekday between certain times, and then edit those times if you wish, and then save and apply them. There's also a access list that you can do. You can create a block list to make to limit the number of to block out specific MAC addresses for whatever that is worth. There's also something which is a VIP list. This is to work around any layer 2 isolation that you might have enabled in your settings. So you have layer 2 isolation that will normally isolate all devices in the that are on the wired connection from each other. But with the VIP list settings, you can let some devices work without even though layer 2 isolation is on for most of the devices. So those are the SSID settings, and you can create up to 8 SSIDs if you wish. As you can see here, we have most of the standard stuff, WPA, PSHAD key, also for the PSHAD key WPA3 PSK, which is actually called simultaneous authentication of equals, or SAE, a little bit different. You can also use mixed. If in mixed environments, probably it will be better to have separate SSIDs for this, but you can choose to do this. We have WPA Enterprise, so you can configure it to check with a radius server to give access to the wireless network or the SSID that you configured. And besides having that for WPA2, you can also do that for WPA3. You can enable some additional roaming features if you wish, but it needs to have the correct version of the PSHAD key for that to be allowed to be enabled. So those are the different things. You can choose between NET mode and bridge mode. So in bridge mode, all the devices will get an IP address from the local DHCP server, wherever that may be. You can also create any NET mode. In that case, the access point itself will work like a small router and provide IP addresses to the people who are connected to it. That will probably break any fast roaming between access points if you use that. So this is probably not a good combination and not something you will wish to do if you want to enable roaming in any way, shape, or form. And again, what I said before, you can select the VLAN ID, do a little bit of any application analysis. This is, although it says application analysis, that would be ISO layer 7, but actually what it looks at is the IP addresses, what kind of servers you're connecting to, like if you're connecting to a Google server or to a Microsoft server, stuff like that, to determine what kind of thing you're doing. And not so much looking into the packets themselves, because the packets are encrypted. And then we have the layer 2 isolation capability of doing band steering, and also broadcast to multicast suppression. Okay, so this is about the SSIDs. So now going to the switches. So I have one switch, and which I can configure. Can look at the standard stuff. My preference is always to leave it to DHCP, and also always do the management VLAN at 1. But those things you can change. But like I said, for me, best practice is just leave it as it is. You have some additional system configuration that you can do. There's also the same system configuration for the switches here. So these settings are the ones that are going to be pushed out to all the switches. But if you go to the switch individual switches, you can overrule those settings to something completely different if you wish. You can configure the ports. So you can see here that I have only one port, uplink port, connected at the moment. And you can configure each of the ports to the different settings. So you can give the port a label. You can enable or disable power over Ethernet. Set the it between user-defined or priority-based. Give it a different priority if you wish. So the priority is important. This switch has a limited PoE amount of PoE power it can deliver, and if you put it on low if it needs to choose which devices to run. The ones with the low power require or priority low will be powered down first. Then the ones with power medium, set as medium, then high, and eventually the ones with critical will be disabled last. So it makes totally no sense to configure everything as critical, because then it will be just random. But if there's some device that is really critical, then you put that to critical. Then there's slightly less important devices on high, etc. But in most cases, you will probably choose the ports for the different types of devices. You can enable isolation. This is the same thing as layer 2 isolation on a port. If it's isolated, then between isolated ports, there will be no traffic. It will only go to the uplink port. Can configure some rate limitation and do some quality of service stuff also. Set a specific value for the device, or trust what it is given by the connected devices. So yeah, of course you have your VLAN stuff. Oh, one of the things that is important here with the ports, of course, is that you configure the port VLAN ID and with the VLANs. So that's what happens. Port VLAN ID is what happens when a packet comes in without a tag. And here you can tell the device what to do with packets that are inside the device. So you can configure a VLAN, give it a name, and then let me move my face. You can configure which of the ones are tagged and also which of the ones are untagged, if you so wish. That said, usually you only want to have a port untagged in a single VLAN, usually. So these are things. Of course, we have some mirror things, mirror settings, so that you can copy packets or mirror packets that are on one port to another port. And actually, we have 3 different mirror settings. So you can monitor different ports, copy from different ports to different mirroring ports, up to 3 different ports, which is very nice. The PoE scheduling, this is much the same as the scheduling in the access points. Link aggregation, if you need it, you can bundle ports together to get either better redundancy or a slightly higher speed. And the logging of the device when it came up online, etc. So that's, well, we also have some like sending emails for alerts for the device. You can add radius users for the local radius. So there's quite a lot of stuff that you can configure here. The default settings, the local credentials are the ones that are pushed to the device when you incorporate it into the managed network. Well, there's not much topology here to see because my access points are not directly connected to the switch. But if I would have connected them to the switch, they would show up here behind it. Anybody has any questions about this stuff they really want to see? Maybe this is one part. If I want to add devices to this local management, I can register devices. Either they show up in the pending approval, and then I can just check and do them, or I can put in the serial numbers and then press on register to register them. And after that, I can assign them to a specific network to make them work there, or to make them match there. So this one is already in that network, so I cannot assign it to it anymore. We have a new feature, by the way, the Fit register. It might be that the APs and the switches are not in the same network as the FitController. In that case, if you enable this, it will check online to see if any devices connected to the Fit register server, and then from that make it possible to register the devices and connect them more easily. If you ever use Easy Master, you may recognize that as the Easy Register Server feature in that. Okay, I think I've said enough about the local device, unless anybody has any questions. So there is a question pane in GoToWebinar that you can use if you didn't see it. And also for the presentation from of Ray, there's a PDF and it is in the handout. So next. So we have two possibilities. Let me see if I can make this smaller so that it will fit. Of course, it's very important to use the word fit a lot. So it will more or less fit now in the screen. So we have, if you're using the Fit Express, there are two ways to manage the device. One of the ways is to use the EnGenius Fit application that you can find in the Play Store, and also we have the version for the Apple, and from there you can install it. As it is already installed on my on this phone, I can just open it and go there. If I ever configured my login name and password, it will just continue to go on and show the devices. And from here, I can see which devices I have. Here you see the 850 that was also in my other environment, but in the other environment there it was online, but it's offline here because my FitController took it. And the 377 Fit that was not online in my FitController, my local environment, is online here. So that's why it is a or situation. So you can either manage the device totally locally with its own local management interface, or you can manage it with the FitController, or you can manage it with the Fit Express. You cannot combine those. It's the one or the other. So here I have my three access points. I also have another switch here. Again, if I go to the switch, let me see how fast this works. My wireless needs to work. If my wireless doesn't work, then things won't end well. Anyway, I can see here which of my ports are active. In this case, I have the situation that I connected most of the access points that are managed. I connected them up here, and I can get some additional information here to see it. And nice feature is I have a button reset PoE. So if I have access point, Africa or a phone or whatever has a problem, I can do the press on the reset PoE button to have the port do a power cycle on the attached device. A feature which was recently added is that I can now configure VLANs on the device. I actually see that I configured lots of VLANs on it. And here again, I can configure ports if I wish to, and save it. So I have some VLAN stuff. Actually, the funny thing is that with the app on the phone, I can do a VLAN configuration, but if I go to the web page, at the moment I cannot. So it can show the amount of power that is being used totally for the switch, and with more detail, I can even see for each of the ports how much power each of the ports is using. I have the same PoE scheduling here as that I have with my FitController. Again, I have the IP assignment, and I can change it to, well, I cannot change it in this case. It is always on DHCP for this environment. So I can do some connectivity tests to see if how fast the connection is. So this is done on the AP. So I connect to the cloud, the AP connects to the cloud, and now I ask the AP to do a connectivity test and do some ping check test from the AP itself. Or sorry, from the switch itself, from the device. I also have the capability to do some cable tests to see if the cabling is all right, if there's something strange. It will not find all the issues, but will find a lot of issues. If there's something shown when you do a cable test, it's probably that there's something really wrong. You can do a reboot. You can play with the LEDs on the device. Place a note, put a photo, remove it from the network, stuff like that. So it's quite a complete list of stuff that you can do here. Next, I'm going to one of my access points, one that's online. Here you have comparable stuff that I can do. It will show you it's the different settings that it's on. For the radio, again, it's only DHCP. If it has any clients, well, it doesn't have any clients because all my clients are on other APs. And we see the same things. I can do a connectivity test, I can do a speed test. So that would be a speed test, again, from the access point to the internet and back. I'm not sure how. I'll just press run, and then if my internet connection drops, then you know what caused it. So the speed of the download, this is probably limited to the CPU performance of the AP itself. In most cases, the throughput of the AP will be higher, but at least you will have some idea if the download and upload of the device is any good. So LED blinking. If you want to find this access point and you want to know which one it is, you can press start on that blinking, and then it will blink all the LEDs so that it's more easier to see. In some cases, you might not want to have any LEDs on because it's in a sleeping room or quarters or something like that, and then the lights are very there's very much light in the night, which you may not want, so then you can disable them. You also have some description of how the LEDs behave, just in case that you're wondering. Notes, photos. Photos might be very handy if there's ever a problem to see what is actually happening. So let me see. Here it is showing the different SSIDs, which you can add here if you wish to, all same things. The guest SSID is very easy to configure. If you do that, it will automatically do layer 2 isolation, etc., to make sure that the guest will only be able to connect to the internet and nothing else. So that's a little bit of an overview with the phone. By the way, I'm really clicking in a live phone which is connected to my laptop, and it's sharing the screen of the phone, just in case you're thinking that I'm using a mock-up. No, it's actually a phone. So next, I will leave the phone alone now and go to the next thingy, and that is the Fit Express thing. So this is Fit Express. The login screen looks a little bit like with the FitController. Again, here you can you can sign up if you did not have a thing yet, and you can log in on it to it, and then you get something off which is more or less the same as that you have with your phone, only in this case in the browser of your computer. So you can see the devices, which of the devices are online, how long they're online, which IP address they're on. Again, here my 850 is taken by my FitController, on-premises FitController, so I cannot manage it here. My switch. So for the switches, I can configure the VLANs here too. By the way, that's new because I don't think it was there before. I have the PoE scheduling. So if you compare it, it is a little bit less settings at the moment than what we have in our Fit or on-premises FitController. Again, here you can also add a photo. If you add a photo here, you will also see that show up in your smartphone app. And here again, you can add the Wi-Fi SSID. Don't make too many. Less SSIDs is better. Network settings. So most of everything is DHCP here. Need to set, or you can set firmware upgrades because it's all managed by the the Fit Express cloud solution. You also want the devices to keep latest firmware, so you can tell which day do you want to have them upgraded and which time slot, when you want them to start and when you want them to end with it. Also, you can add additional administrators, invite somebody to have access to this, to either view the settings or to even be able to manage the settings. You can also do this from the app somewhere, but I didn't show that before. So I'm hoping for some questions. Let me see if there's anything that I forgot. Oh yes, there's one interesting feature. You can generate a passcode for a certain number of days, and if you ever need to have support from us, then you can provide us with a passcode, and if you tell us the name of the network, we will be able to use the passcode to open up the network and see the settings. I have a question here. I'm happy to have a question here. Will Fit Express ever be managed via web portal on a PC rather than a phone app? Well, actually, that's what you're seeing here. At least if that is what you mean, I connect to the Fit to the same site, but now the same management site, the same Fit Express management site, but now as a with the browser instead of my my phone. I hope that is clear now, because I am seeing the same devices and managing the same devices as I have with my phone here. Let me see. Oh, it didn't want to go in one go. Come on, mouse. It's trying to make life hard for me to move this this window over there. One moment. So this is the same switch as this one here. This is with the app, with the smartphone app, and this is just Windows in my Edge browser. With the Fit Express, after you configured the firmware upgrade settings, it should take care of its own. And if we're talking about the same feature for the firmware upgrades from our on-site controller. So why did my let me see, where's my password? So now I'm on the wrong. No, I have a problem with my. Oh, I'm signing into the wrong device. Okay, Fit. What was it? 227. Yes, this one. Okay. I have the firmware upgrade settings here. I can upload firmwares to the device, and then I can do an upgrade now. So then all the devices will be, all the access points will be upgraded. Or I can create a maintenance window and have the controller do that during the maintenance window. And the same thing for the switches. I can upload the firmwares I want to have. So the difference with the FitController in this case, with the FitCon 100, compared to the online version, is that with the FitCon, I can actually decide when which firmwares are applied. Whereas if I'm on this, yeah, I need to select which day of the week, and then it will happen. And the only thing otherwise that I can do is decide that I want to have it done now, but there's no way to stop it, and there's no way to control exactly which firmware is going to be on the device. That's all being done automatically. I hope that answers the question sufficiently. So any more questions? Ray, any questions for me? Louise, any questions?
I have a question actually. I was just thinking about it. We have a customer that has a whole bunch of care homes, and he uses the Easy Master system to manage all of those. Now he's obviously going forward going to have to move over to this new system, but I was just wondering how long the Easy Master system how long will he be able to use that? Is that, I imagine you're not updating it anymore, but is he, I'm just
for the last I think actually 2 years or something like that, or almost 2 years. The only updates that we have done on Easy Master are security updates. Like
Yeah.
there was some security issue that it really needed to be addressed, and that was addressed. And I think that moving forward, that is what we can still expect, that if there's some critical security issue, that will be fixed. Otherwise, we will not do any feature updates on Easy Master for sure. Any feature updates that will be done in either the FitController, in FitExpress, or both. And it's a little bit, if they bought those access points recently, and those are Wi-Fi 6 access points, so the 357, 377, 850, then it might be able, with a special firmware, to upgrade them to be managed by the FitController, not by the cloud solution, but by the on-premises FitController solution. But maybe that will not fit the customer if he has more than 100 devices, because the FitController is limited to that.
Yeah, he does have over 100 devices, and to be fair, actually, they're all EAP 1250s. So it's
yeah. Well, in this case, if they ever need to enhance their network, either they, well, I think, I'm not sure if 1250 is still available, but there are a few devices still available that can be managed by the Easy Master. Otherwise, they either need to start with some in a new environment and then move over, or at a certain point, probably they will need to replace the AAPs anyway, and at a time they will need to move to another management platform.
Yeah, well, that was my thinking too. Is I was thinking perhaps what they could do as each new care home opens, they could consider looking at moving over to the Fit system, and then, as you say, as the older ones start to require replacing, they can do it that way, because each job is done by care home, so it works out quite well. So whilst they've got over 100 access points, there's maybe 35 per care home, so it's not quite as bad as you might think initially. So that's useful information. Thank you.
Yeah, there's another thing that is interesting in this context. I think, let me see. Yeah, I'm on the right one. So you have this one. My address, my email address, only can manage 30 devices.
Oh,
but
right.
My address, but I could, in our Exchange Office 365, I can of course make lots of different aliases for my name, and give each of those aliases another 30, and then invite my main account to be able to admin manage those two. And then I will probably be able to just log in as this one user, and then get visibility of the other networks that I'm managing. Alessandro has a different view in his mobile app than me. He is actually seeing two different networks. One is a network that he can admin, which is owned by me, but also admin by him, and he can also see his owned network. And you can there's no, I don't think there is any real limitation on the number of networks that you can admin. There is a limit of a number of devices you can own in your own network, but not a number of things you can be invited to. So it might even be less bad in that context, because you can invite, each care home can have their own account, and then just invite one single account to admin them all.
Oh, that makes really good sense. I hope he's watching this actually, and if he isn't, I shall send him the recording afterwards. Thank you.
Okay. And I have another question from Daniel, making me very happy with all the questions. So can a FitController be used remotely over the cloud? The answer is sort of, and soon. So at the moment, of course, like any device that you can reach with a browser, you can do port forwardings, and as long as you know the public IP address and public ports, you can access that way. But probably that's not what Daniel wants. Daniel wants to go to the Fit Express thing here there, and then see in the dashboard, and then have like devices. Have a third one here saying here are all the Fit controllers, and then click on one and press manage, and then move there. And that feature is coming. I'm not sure if it will be exactly like I'm describing it now, but it will be something like that. So you will need a Fit Express account, but from the Fit Express account, you can jump through to the FitController without needing to do any port forwarding and stuff. Okay.
Well, it seems we've hit 2 o'clock and no further questions. So I think if we could call it a day there, that would be really good. We've done the hour. And I'd just like to thank you both, Alcindor and Ray, for your time today. It's been a really interesting presentation. And you think you know it when you work for the distributor, but we've all learned something new, I'm sure. So thank you both very much for the presentation. It's been really useful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, well, if you have any questions later that you can think of, you can always send them to support@engeniusnetworks.eu, and I'll be sure to see them, and either me or Alessandro will answer them.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, guys, and
Okay.
thank you everyone for attending. We really appreciate it.
Okay, I will close the meeting now. Everybody have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.